Volunteers lined up outside the machine room. Young military physicists who understood the theory and had seen the object tests. Now it was their turn. Dr. Agnew explained the procedure one more time. Step between the pillars, enter the energy field, exit at the destination point. Simple. The first destination was Sandia National Labs in Mexico, 1,800 miles away. A receiving team waited with medical personnel, monitoring equipment, and a direct line to the Pentagon. Lieutenant Morrison went first. 26 years old, Rhodes Scholar, perfect physical condition. He stepped through the shimmer and vanished. The receiving team in New Mexico waited. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour. Morrison never arrived. Not in New Mexico, not anywhere. The best physicist in the program had simply ceased to exist. The second volunteer made it through, but something went wrong. Lieutenant Farley spent 30 seconds in the field. When he appeared in New Mexico, he aged 30 years. His hair was white. His skin was paper thin. He tried to speak, but collapsed. The medical team couldn't save him. Cause of death? Old age. He was 31. They recalibrated everything, checked Tesla's notes, made adjustments. The third test stayed local, just one floor up, 10 feet of distance. Lieutenant Hutchins stepped through. What happened next made everyone in the room step back. Hutchins arrived in pieces, not torn apart, separated in time. His legs materialized first, his torso 30 seconds later, arms 2 minutes after that. The medical team stood by helplessly. His heart had arrived before his lungs. His brain was sending signals to limbs that existed in different moments in time. The few who survived came back broken. Private Anderson made a successful jump and returned physically intact, but he couldn't stop screaming about the space between, the place where time moved sideways, where he felt himself dying and being born over and over again, where past and future existed in the same moment, and his mind tried to be in both. The psychiatrist sedated him, but he never spoke again. Dr. Agnew studied the data from 15 failed tests, 15 volunteers, only 3 survivors, and all went insane. But there was a pattern. Morrison was 26 when he vanished. Farley was 31. Anderson was 19 and survived, though his mind didn't. The younger the subject, the better the outcome. Adult consciousness was the problem. Too rigid, it's too fixed. When you're 30, your brain knows how reality works, and when that reality breaks, so does your mind. But children, their minds were still forming, still flexible. They could bend without breaking. Agnew knew what this meant. The military had done terrible things before in the name of national security, but using children as test subjects crossed a line that nobody wanted to cross. That's when Raymond Basiago spoke up. Ray worked for the Ralph M. Parsons Company, DARPA's main contractor. He'd been on the project from the beginning and understood the stakes. Ray had a 6-year-old son, smart kid, resilient, adaptable. Ray volunteered him for the program. Agnew wanted to say no. Every instinct told him this was wrong. But the data was clear, and they were out of options and out of adult volunteers. The children were their only chance. The lab at Curtis Wright looked like any government facility. Gray walls, gray floor, gray ceiling, metal desks covered in paperwork, coffee-stained mugs next to oscilloscopes and voltage meters. You'd never know this bland room was about to send a 6-year-old boy back in time. Andrew Basiago stood between the metal pillars. The machine hummed. Not loud, more like a vibration that made your teeth hurt. He'd done this before. 3 times to Santa Fe, once to his grandparents' house in Ohio. But this jump was different. This time he was going farther, way farther. November 19th, 1863, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. President Lincoln would give a speech. Andrew's job was simple. Watch, listen, remember, report back. The shimmer started between the pillars. The air got thick. Andrew knew the feeling, like trying to walk through jello. He took a deep breath and stepped forward into the Voral Tunnel. Then everything went white. Then his feet hit mud, cold mud that squished into his shoes. Except these weren't his shoes. They were huge, adult military boots that flopped when he walked. He was wearing a Union uniform. It was itchy and smelled old. And the smell hit him hard. Sweet and rotten mixed with horse manure and smoke. Andrew's stomach turned. People pressed in from all sides. Hundreds of people, soldiers in blue uniforms, women in long dresses. Everyone looked tired. Their faces were dirty. The November cold cut through the wool uniform. Andrew pushed through the crowd toward the wooden platform. That's where Lincoln would speak. And that's what he came to see. But moving was hard. The oversized boots kept sticking in the mud. A soldier muttered something about whose kid he was, but nobody stopped him. Just another boy in uniform. The ground was churned into thick mud, not regular mud. In places it had a rusty color. The battlefield was only 4 months old. The earth still remembered. Somebody's elbow caught Andrew in the head. His eyes watered, but he didn't cry. He had a mission. Find the platform. See Lincoln. Remember everything. The platform came into view. Raw wood hammered together. Men in top hats stood around it. They looked different than everyone else. They had clean clothes. They looked fed, like they belonged in another world. Then the crowd stirred. People pointed. They got excited. A tall man in a black coat climbed onto the platform. Even from where Andrew stood, he can see how tired Lincoln looked, how his shoulders bent forward. The president removed his hat. He cleared his throat. The crowd went silent. Andrew was 6 years old, standing in a field in Pennsylvania, listening to Abraham Lincoln speak. He was alone, scared, and 105 years before he was born. Then Andrew saw something to his left. A flash. Andrew panicked a little. He was trained to avoid this. Someone had taken his picture.
The project moved faster after Andrew's success. DARPA immediately began recruiting more children. They worked through defense contractors and military families, looking for kids with specific traits. High intelligence, obviously, physical resilience to handle the stress, but most importantly, the children needed minds that could handle temporal flexibility. Hundreds of kids were interviewed and tested. The children began intense testing and training. Physical conditioning came first, then meditation techniques to help them stay grounded across different timelines. Some kids couldn't handle it. They were quietly returned to their families with the cover story that they just weren't the right fit. Out of thousands of recruits, only 140 children made it through training. They became known as chrononauts. They were divided into teams based on age and ability. Each team specialized in a different time period. They memorized layouts of ancient cities. They learned to recognize clothing styles, practice blending into crowds from different eras. Now, this wasn't school, it was a covert operation. And for especially dangerous missions, children were even given cyanide capsules. Andrew made multiple trips to Gettysburg. On his fourth mission, something strange happened. He was watching Lincoln from his usual spot when he noticed another boy. Same uniform, same oversized shoes, same face. He was looking at himself, a younger version from an earlier trip. During training, they warned about this. Two versions of the same person existing in the same moment. They said to avoid contact, but never explained why. When the two Andrews locked eyes, he understood. The younger one looked terrified. The older Andrew felt his mind struggling to process what he was seeing. He remembered being in that exact spot, seeing his older self, feeling that same fear. In that moment, reality felt fragile. Andrew just couldn't explain it, but he could sense that the world was just somehow wrong. Other chrononauts reported similar experiences. A girl named Sarah met 3 versions of herself at Pearl Harbor. Mark, an older boy, watched himself die at Antietam, but a new Mark was able to change the past, survive, and complete his mission. Some children claim they'd witnessed events that never happened, or hadn't happened yet. Different versions of history where different choices led to different outcomes. Tesla's technology hadn't just unlocked time travel, it gave access to the multiverse. By 1980, Project Pegasus achieved something new. They learned to bend space as well as time. The children who'd proven themselves on Earth would now be sent somewhere else. somewhere 140 million miles away. The chrononauts were going to Mars.